Alright guys, welcome back to F1 News. This does not appear to be a drill. Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari is happening, and it is happening over the next couple of days. We have heard these rumours in F1 for years, Hamilton joining Ferrari, but the rumours have never circulated to this extent, and they have never circulated from as reputable journalists as are saying that this is a done deal, it's locked in, and it's due to be confirmed very shortly. What does this mean for all parties? For Hamilton, for Ferrari, for Mercedes, even for Carlos Sainz and the team over there? Massively intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. So here we go, baby. Coming out of Will Buxton last night, hearing a big announcement is on the way before the end of the week. If it is what I think it is, it's absolutely massive. So here we go again, Buxton doing this whole thing. But it's not just Buxton talking about it. Giuliano De Chessa. Now, we talk about this guy a lot. Of course, he writes for Formula Uno, a reputable and reliable source within the Italian media. And there are very few journalists which are genuine Ferrari insiders. De Chessa is undeniably one of them. His reputation speaks for itself within the Ferrari organisation, and there is really no doubt that De Chessa has serious sources within the Ferrari organisation. So when De Chessa says something about Ferrari, we take it seriously here on the channel. And when De Chessa says Hamilton's joining Ferrari, we have to take it seriously here on the channel to some degree. So this was the bombshell article that came out here from Formula Uno last night discussing that Ferrari's plan A is to bring Hamilton to Maranello. Now, we've talked over the last several weeks. Leclerc's contract has been extended. It's quite clear that Sainz is not necessarily part of their future plans. If he was, they'd have got that deal re-signed anyway. We've talked about Albon. We've talked about Gasly. We've talked about even Norris was an option. But now Norris, of course, has signed an extension at McLaren. So it's like, okay, what are Ferrari planning to do here? Are they going to get another big name into that organisation? Apparently, this is now locked in. So as I say, when Giuliano De Chessa is reporting about this, we really have to take it seriously, especially when many other reputable journalists have now come out after the fact and said that actually they've checked with their guys and this pretty much stacks up. So this is what the article had to say, and it's no doubt sensational. As I say, we talk about these rumours every so often from very questionable sources, but these are legitimate sources, and we have to mention it. So, as is mentioned here in the article, Leclerc's extension is a couple of days old at this point because it's now a done deal. The reason for this slow evolution with Sainz is, as Formula Uno has learned, would be the sensational attempts to bring Hamilton to Ferrari in 2025 alongside Charles Leclerc. What a driver lineup that would be. The 7-time world champion had extended his historic agreement with Mercedes by 1 season, but the option apparently in Mercedes' extension with Hamilton meant that Hamilton can effectively leave the contract when he likes, and the contract option is on Hamilton's ends if he wants to stay or wants not to, which would lead him to being free to wear the red suit. Some talks took place directly with the president of Ferrari, John Elkann, which would have favoured what appears to be a transition process being defined. Fred Vasseur has history with Hamilton back in the GP2 days, which is what Formula 2 used to be. Even Vasseur mentioned recently he talks to Hamilton every week, every so often about some sort of possibilities, but I think we've never taken it as a community particularly seriously because people never really thought that Hamilton was going to leave Mercedes, right? But fair enough, one article is one article and maybe De Chessa's got this one wrong. However, this is when we see other reputable journalists come out and say their piece. Antonio Lobato, Spanish journalist, of course, with some interest in the Sainz situation more than likely, says the following: I don't usually comment on rumours, but this is more than just a rumour. From what I've learned, the chances of Hamilton wearing Ferrari red in 2025 are very high. In fact, I do not rule out that he is already signed. Hamilton has a contract there until the end of 25, but with the option to leave in 24. This manoeuvre has caught Mercedes off guard, while Sainz expected it, or at least expected to be gone. This year is going to be difficult for Sainz at Ferrari, but his options for 2025 are several. Sauber, even, of course, joining Mercedes in Hamilton's place. And the way he talks about this final couple of sentences basically makes it sound like a done deal, right? He is speaking as if this is happening. And the deal is, I mean, he says he doesn't even rule out that it's already happened. The deal is already signed. Then Adam Cooper, another reputable freelance F1 journalist, says, from what he hears, this is actually happening. And of course, Mercedes would need a driver, Sainz would need a drive, maybe put 2 and 2 together there. But I mean, it's so wild. Even L'Equipe this morning, right, very reputable French sources, they say the following, that from what they've heard, according to our information, discussions are taking place quickly to sign the British driver. And everyone's talking about this. The BBC are reporting on this, motorsport.com with Jonathan Noble reported on this, and he said the following: although it's not clear if a final contract has been signed, motorsport.com understands, again, this is motorsport.com, TacticalRab.com, like we ain't messing around here with these sources, understands that negotiations are in an advanced stage and could be concluded by the end of the week. He also went on to say in the article that apparently Ferrari and Mercedes have both declined to comment on the situation, which does definitely make you think. So how has this happened? Why has this happened? And what does it mean for the immediate future? We have seen lots of discussions lately with the Leclerc deal, the Norris deal, on what is going to happen with silly season this year and whether it's going to be done before the season even begins. Hamilton has been at Mercedes for a long time now. Has his confidence wavered in the team? Publicly, he says absolutely not. But behind the scenes, that may be a different story. This was an image of Lewis Hamilton getting into the Mercedes W15 just a couple of days ago. People, of course, were analysing the body language, on what he felt about it, and maybe what was going through Hamilton's mind at this point was, this is going to be the final Mercedes that I'm ever going to drive. He's been doing the simulator work, he's been doing, the testings, the seat fittings, whatever the case is, as they prepare the launch here for the W15 over the coming days. But clearly, Mercedes have lost their way somewhat over the last couple of years. Is this an indictment from Hamilton on how he believes Mercedes can operate going forward? Because let's not forget, it hasn't been long since we have seen extensions at Mercedes. Here are the tweets. James Allison, not that long ago, confirmed a long-term commitment to Mercedes. Even Toto Wolff extended his contract as their TP until 2026, saying explicitly in the public domain that his intention was to get the 8th title with Lewis Hamilton. And it feels to me in some ways that, Allison extending, Toto Wolff extending, was trying to say to Lewis, hey, look, we're going to support you. We're going to try and get you the 8th title. We still believe we can do it as a team here. But, maybe Hamilton thinks differently, and it would be quite the thing for Hamilton to do, especially because Mercedes seem to have had no idea. There's been no reports about this. If he has actually dipped out and gone to join Ferrari, clearly Toto Wolff and those guys didn't think this was actually going on behind the scenes. And, I think Toto Wolff even said at some point that if Hamilton does feel like his future is best spelt elsewhere, that he won't, hold it against him. But still, if Mercedes have actually been blindsided by the work behind the scenes of Fred Vasseur to make this happen, it would be mind-blowing, especially because of all that Mercedes have done publicly to show that, no, well, we're making our car better, the car's going to be good this year, and, Toto's committed to getting the 8th for Lewis and all this type of stuff. And Hamilton says, you know what? I think my chances of getting the 8th title are better spent at the Scuderia is quite the situation, right? And it's not been that long ago since there were serious rumours between Hamilton and Ferrari. This was actually said by Toto Wolff back in October, that Hamilton had chats with Ferrari. Some time ago, Lewis told me, I saw John Alcan at dinner, but know that I am not going anywhere. And then when they wrote about this conversation with Ferrari, he then said again, Toto, I'm not carrying out any negotiation. So, there was never an inch of doubt in my mind. So, Hamilton admitted to Toto that he'd had dinner with John Alcan, he'd had dinner with, that's Ferrari president, he'd had dinner with these Ferrari guys, and even Fred Vasseur has said over the last couple of months that he speaks with Hamilton very often, he keeps an open dialogue with Hamilton. And as Daniel rightly, I think, says, if Hamilton were going to leave anywhere to join a particular different team, it would probably be with Fred Vasseur at Ferrari. You've also got to think for Lewis, right? He's never driven a Ferrari. It would be, an absolute crowning achievement in some ways of Hamilton's career to win a race or, even win a championship, of course, with the Scuderia. And while getting back to the top with Mercedes would be nice, it appears that Hamilton no longer has confidence that is the best place to do it. And Vasseur has maybe convinced him that the Scuderia is the way to go. So, this is just incredible for so many reasons. What it means to Mercedes as well, because does Hamilton know something we don't about how that car is going to perform next season? Like, is the W15 going to be a rocket ship? Is it not, right? Because if it's not, then Hamilton might have already made the agreement that going to Ferrari is the way to go. But also going into 2026, right? That was the big question to me. I don't think anyone's really expecting Hamilton to win a championship at Mercedes for the next couple of years, but we saw what happened when he initially joined Mercedes. McLaren were struggling to find their groove somewhat. And, he decided that Mercedes was the next step and the right step for him. Maybe Hamilton also feels that Ferrari, it's about time in the cycle of Formula One, they get back to the top. You look at how long it's been since Ferrari have won a championship. It's a long time. 2008 constructors, 2007 drivers. Maybe Hamilton feels like Mercedes have had their time, at least for the time being, and the next team that's going to come to challenge Red Bull is going to be Ferrari. I've even just refreshed the timeline real quick here, and Sky Sports are reporting this as fact. They're reporting this as a done deal, and Hamilton Ferrari is now locked in. So absolutely mind-blowing scenes. Now, I guess the other point is, what does this mean for Ferrari? Like, Hamilton, is Bono going to go with him? Like, is Hamilton's team going to go with him to Ferrari? Like, Russell gets to be the #1 guy at Mercedes, I guess, now. Like, way sooner than he thought he would be. I'm sure Russell secretly is kind of happy about this, but let's be honest, right? Hamilton's still at Mercedes for one more year. He could still win the title at Mercedes this year, theoretically. Sainz is going to be driving a Ferrari, then he knows it's not his seat. But also, what about the relationship between Charles Leclerc and Hamilton? There's been so much praise either way between these two guys. Leclerc has said that Hamilton has, like, all the qualities you'd want in a Formula 1 driver, this type of stuff. But also, Leclerc, surely when he signed this mega contract deal with Ferrari, has expected to be the #1 man. Fred Vasseur has talked all this stuff about, well, you know, if you want to have a championship team, you need to build around one man. And it seemed like Leclerc was that man. But you bring in 7-time champion Lewis Hamilton, that now becomes somewhat murky, right? All of a sudden you have two unbelievably good drivers in the same car. Leclerc arguably has the best one-lap qualifying pace on the grid. Hamilton arguably used to, maybe still does, depending on your perspective, because, you know, obviously the most pole positions of all time at 104. What's that battle going to look like in quali, and let alone the race? I mean, these guys, it's not a clear 1-2 dynamic here. This is arguably one of the strongest driver pairings ever put together in Formula 1 since, like, you know, Prost Senna. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable, right, on paper. So this is just so fascinating from so many different angles. It's tough to dive into all the potential implications in this video today, but yeah, what do you guys think about this in the comment section below? Because we have talked about these rumors for, I mean, a very long time now, but we have never seen them reach quite these levels. And if rumors are to be believed, the contract is basically done and confirmations are due in the very near future, unless we are all getting massively debated somehow, but it feels that is somehow unlikely. So very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Just to cover the final things here from Andretti, of course, they were rejected from Formula 1 yesterday, and actually they did respond to this, and Mario himself actually said, Mario Andretti, like the old man, I'm devastated. I won't say anything else about this because I can't find any other words to say. And they actually responded, Andretti Cadillac, to say that, well, they've looked at what F1 said, that they're not going to be a competitive outfit, etc., etc., strongly disagrees with the content, and actually said that they will continue working on their highly competitive car and engine, which was the main reason really why F1 said no, even though that's not really the main reason, but that's the main reason that they will tell us publicly. So I do wonder whether there'll be any sort of legal repercussions as well here, because there were rumors that it would be actually somewhat challenging for Formula 1 to say no, because the FIA have approved it, and especially in like European courts and legislation, apparently legally it was going to be quite challenging for Formula 1 to say no. They have said no, so I wonder if there's any potential legal repercussions that could result from this whole situation. But you know, clearly Andretti in motorsport has far more achievements than many of the other Formula 1 teams have on the grid right now that are apparently more competitive propositions than Andretti. So massively intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Wow, what a day. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.